After 9 days of threats of imprisonment, confiscation of footage, and what was the most chaotic, difficult, yet amazing trip of my life, the last thing that stands between us and our flight home is the reason we came: the Congo River itself.
Eric, this ferry cannot move today because now it's closed and they have to repay tomorrow.
The UN truck just said he's been here since this morning.
I've had times where I've been held up for days.
What's up, Freddie?
To start the engine.
They're starting the engine. Awesome. It just broke down again?
Yeah. We now have 1 hour of daylight left.
They're starting the engine from the started.
Okay, great.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
You learn quickly. In Congo, things change at a moment's notice.
Welcome to the jungle.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Everyone gets everything he wants. I wanted to see the Congo, and for my sins, they let me. In Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad writes of his alter ego. When I was a little chap, I had a passion for maps. At that time, there were many blank spaces on Earth. But there was one yet, the biggest, the most blank, that I had a hankering after. This, then, is the Congo. The size of all Western Europe combined. It should be Africa's wealthiest nation. But people forget, or never even knew, that the 20th century's first Holocaust happened here when Belgium's King Leopold managed to bamboozle the world into giving him personal title to the Congo. Leopold's agents, of whom the mythical Kurtz was one, raided, slaughtered, mutilated, and pressed into forced labor much of the population in a bloodthirsty quest for first ivory and then rubber. When independence finally came, the Belgians trashed what they could and left behind a completely unprepared, tribally divided, and largely ungovernable landmass filled with stuff that everybody in the world wanted. And things pretty much went downhill from there. But this story begins with a truck stop in Rwanda.
Stocking up in Rwanda, because my expectations for food in the Congo are more measured.
If you're looking to get to the Eastern Congo, and many would ask why you'd even want to do that, the best way is to drive across from neighboring Rwanda. This country, of course, not too long ago, suffered its own appalling genocide. Behind the wheel, Dan. He's been living in the DRC for 2 years, working on a documentary about some of the several dozen rebel groups in the country. Riding shotgun, Dan's close friend and associate, Hareb, a Congolese. They're taking me across the border. One side, Rwanda. Hotels, paved roads, internet, and paperwork to be filled out. Just a few feet of barbed wire, machine guns, and cement walls away, this. Welcome to Goma. A city of 1 million, a significant number of whom are IDPs, internally displaced people, sitting rather inconveniently at the base of Mount Nyiragongo, a still smoldering volcano. Current street level is about 12 feet above where it was in January 2002 when it last erupted. Lava everywhere, which explains the less than smooth ride. One of the first things you notice out the car window, the UN. About 4 months ago, the M23, one of the various rebel groups holed up in the jungle nearby, invaded the city. The NGOs battened down the hatches. The UN stood by, hands tied. Everyone else had to fend for themselves until the rebels withdrew. The Congo is a place I've dreamed of visiting since before I ever thought I'd get the chance to travel the world.
Close your door.
Actually being here, I'm not so sure. Dan, Hareb, and I head for a local restaurant. Good food is going to be a challenge soon, so we take the opportunity to fill up on what we can. Grilled chicken, ugali, piri-piri pepper. A pretty nice meal.
Goma in the 50s, you know, tourists used to come from as far down as Rhodesia, up here to vacation.
Amazing wildlife. Also, I remember my childhood seeing lions just alongside of the road sometime. Goma was a touristy place for a long time.
They're not coming anymore?
No.
No, you're just saying no.
It's a red zone.
It's looking like there won't be house-to-house fighting or artillery or mortars dropping into Goma. Was today a good day?
Well, right now we have a rebel group just 10 kilometers north of us.
Right.
And then we have maybe 7 other rebel groups that are all caught in the blender, you know? So
Things change quickly in Congo.
Confused yet? Virtually all of the eastern part of the country is being contested by rebel groups, some local and others allegedly acting on behalf of interests based in neighboring countries. Recently, the largely Tutsi Rwandan-backed M23 has been active in the area around Goma, but the mostly Hutu FDLR is also here. The Mai Mai can refer to either somewhat generic local self-defense groups or specific entities like APCLS or Cheka. Some groups like the FRPI are principally defending a stake in a resource like gold, and others, like the Rea Motomboki, are mainly interested in fighting with a particular enemy. In their case, they have a beef with the FDLR. And lots of other organizations controlling territory who haven't come up with a name or a cool acronym yet. This is only a fraction of the rebel groups in a single area of the Congo. And be advised, this map was hopelessly outdated before we even got here.
it's all these variables kind of knotted into one big mess. And these are the reasons why media has a difficult time, why the Western world doesn't hear much about Congo. Because how can you sum it up in a 3-minute report?
But for us, Goma is just a stopover on the way to the Congo River. So we need to keep moving. And roads, forget it. Certainly nothing even remotely safe between Goma and where we're headed.
We're flying to Kisangani. This is the preferred route.
So we've chartered a bush plane, formerly Queen Elizabeth's flying wardrobe. When the Queen traveled, presumably in her younger years, Her clothes followed in this beast, or so we're told.
I have not seen this model of plane before. A first for me.
Of course, you'll learn to take nothing for granted in the Congo.
Uh-oh.
Just as we're about to take off, thunder, lightning.
I don't see what the problem is. Weather looks fine to me.
Let's get this thing airborne.
To wait this one out a little bit. Crashes are pretty commonplace. Not so long ago, a plane with nearly 100 people on board went down on the same route we're taking today.
Now, most planes that crash in Congo crash because of the weather, right?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah, but...
Not us. Don't worry.
Impossible, man.
The weather clears up, sort of. So we decide to give it a go.
When the weather is very bad, stay on the ground. That's all.
What about rebels? They shooting at the planes?
No, normally no. Okay, we'll see you after your trip.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good one.
Lifting off from Goma, we head out over the shores of Lake Kivu before circling back northeast. Our destination, what Conrad referred to in Heart of Darkness as the inner station. Here, surrounded by dense jungle, lies our rendezvous with the Congo River, a waterway responsible for both building this country and helping to destroy it. Two hours out of Goma, we land at Kisangani. This was once Stanleyville, and the country's second largest city, before war and neglect cut it off from the rest of the Congo and the world.
Stanleyville, known in Heart of Darkness as the inner station.
The Congo River stretches across the country's middle. Conrad describes it as a twisting snake with its head in the Atlantic Ocean and its tail buried deep in Africa's heart. To Europeans, it was a natural route to transport slaves, ivory, rubber, minerals, the commodities upon which modern-day Brussels and Antwerp are built. For the Congolese, both before and after the Belgians, it provided more basic things. Water, to wash, to clean your clothes in, to cook with, to drink. Also fishing. Since long before the expeditions of Dr. Livingstone and Henry Morton Stanley, the Wagenya tribe has been fishing the river in unique fashion. Highly coordinated and acrobatic, the Wagenya dive into the treacherous rapids of what is still referred to as Stanley Falls. Navigate downstream between baskets that need tending. Perched on a precarious network of wooden poles, they hoist together. The catch these days? Not much.
So this is the second biggest force in this Congo River.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ogi is a Wagenya fisherman and was a guide bringing tourists to his village. Since the last two wars, Kisangani tourism has been pretty much non-existent. Chief of the Wagenya, Pierre Mosala Abeka, it is said, is a direct descendant of King Ntendebuma Ifila, who greeted Stanley in the 1870s.
Please thank him for the privilege of seeing his community.
It's a present from the chief. This is a way to welcome the delegation of CNN.
The the Waginya tribe made what was in retrospect the mistake of allowing Stanley to pass. The famous explorer, of course, pretty much shot and raided his way along his historic route to the coast before effectively jump-starting the colonial period. Using Stanley as administrator, King Leopold of Belgium claimed the Congo as his personal property. Under Leopold's reign, men, women, and children were tagged with numbers, separated into groups, given production quotas. If they fell short, they were whipped with the chicotte, their hands cut off, hanged. An estimated 10 million Congolese were either starved, worked to death, executed, or just killed where they stood, all in just over 20 years. By the end, half the population of the country was gone.
Have you ever thought about all those years ago, if your people had just killed Stanley?
Somebody else have to come.
Somebody else would have come.
Ordinarily, a large tigerfish like this one, it's going to the market, considered way too valuable to eat. But today, guests.
It's a mean-looking fish.
She used to sell fish in the market.
The Congolese standard, limboke. It can be pretty much anything wrapped in a banana leaf and steamed.
Purement traditionnel. Typical traditional.
Excellent meal. A lot of work. Though it looks like they're not having an entirely miserable time of it. The water looks good. On a good day, how many like this?
On a good day, 50.
50.
Yeah, 50. That time, two ancestors. Ancestors didn't used to catch this. They just catch a big fish. One basket like this, they used to catch about 10 big fish. But situation changed. The tourists used to come and see how the fishermen are catching fish.
Right, hundreds of them used to come, yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, things get a little better here. Maybe they come back.
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
After Leopold, the Belgian government took over and pretty much continued as before. An apartheid-like system of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. By the 50s, there was a beautiful modern infrastructure built. Railroads, hotels, sports clubs, schools. The envy of Africa. Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn were here while filming The African Queen. They stayed at the luxury hotel, the Pourquoi Pas. This is the Pourquoi Pas now. Like everything else of that time, a hollow ruin inhabited by squatters or simply eaten by the jungle. But none of this was ever for the Congolese. They weren't allowed in many of these buildings except as help. Not even allowed to walk their own streets after dark. Not a lot of dependable electric power left in the city. But what lights do glow around town, much of it comes from places like this. Small kiosks serving the Congolese version of barbecue and what passes for cold beer. Christian is one of our fixers, tasked with keeping us on track and out of trouble. Which, believe me, is a big job around here.
You know, it's an amazing looking city. If you just blur your vision a little bit, you can see it the way it used to be.
Beautiful. I think it could be the best place to live. Very kind people. People like listening to music, sitting, taking their beers, eating.
What's the Congolese word for barbecue?
Barbecue.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like any meat on a grill. It's looking good.
Grilled goat with cabri, a traditional goat stew on the side.
Now we're talking.
They roast it and then they put some sauce on it.
That's delicious.
As you can see, people don't eat meat. Meat is quite expensive, almost $2.
Which is a lot. That's more than most people make in a day or even 2 days. What are the first things you buy if you're very, very, very poor?
Very poor, soap.
Soap.
Yeah. Because at least you have to look a bit clean.
So soap first. Soap.
But in between, as Congolese, you got to think of dressing, looking smart, clothes. All these Congolese you can see here,
right.
If you give them $10, they'll think of at least buying soap or food and keep maybe $1 to buy a shirt.
So that's called pride.
Yeah. And there's hope.
You can plan for tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
In Heart of Darkness, Conrad writes about the greed of the Belgian colonizers. They grabbed what they could get for the sake of what was to be got. It was just robbery with violence, aggravated murder on a great scale. And after 75 years, the Congolese had had enough. But independence came quickly. And when the new country managed to inaugurate their first democratically elected leader, Patrice Lumumba, the CIA and the British, working through the Belgians, had him killed. We helped to install this miserable bastard in his place, Joseph Mobutu. He stole billions of dollars from his people and pretty much became the template for despotism in Africa. Needless to say, this situation deteriorated over the next 30-odd years. And by the time Mobutu was done, the Congo was mired in a series of civil wars, the government was no longer paying its bills, and the trains basically stopped running. This is Kisangani Station. There's one short run left. Service once a week when operational, which isn't often, I'm guessing. Abandoned by the Belgians, shot up and stripped by rebels in the 90s. The station, the engines, the ancient passenger cars, and the tracks themselves have slowly receded into the jungle. And yet all these years later, with hardly any resources, Monsieur Aloub Emile, the railway administrator, and a staff of clerks, conductors, mechanics, and engineers show up at work and do what they can in an attempt to keep things in working order.
How do you do?
He said that you are welcome to see this place.
How many employees still work here?
Ici, pendant les temps normal, nous sommes dans les 500 agents. Mais pour le moment, nous sommes dans les 200.
So at one time, you could dispatch a freight to South Africa?
Oui, justement, vous pouvez quitter ici jusqu'en Afrique du Sud, avec des correspondances évidemment.
So a hypothetical question. If the government said, okay, we're ready, we have the money, we would like to, as quickly as possible, get operational. Does he have the workers ready to go?
Oui, parce que si nous roulons aujourd'hui, c'est suite aux compétences humaines que nous avons. Parce que tout est presque bousillé. Mais ce sont des intelligences humaines qui essaient de maintenir le peu que nous avons. En tout cas, si on nous donnait encore un apport technique moderne, là, carrément, nous sautons.
And this is one of the few things here that's working today. A feature of great pride to the staff. The railway employees, I'm told, do not get paid, yet they continue to show up and work. It is said of the building of the country's once vast rail network, one Congolese died for every single tie. Like many Congolese we meet, they are, all these years later, and in spite of everything that's happened, ready and waiting for the situation to improve. You lost your way on that river as you would in a desert, till you thought yourself bewitched and cut off forever from everything you had known once. So Conrad described the Congo after piloting steamships in the early days of Belgian colonialism.
I've had something of a multi-decade obsession with the Congo. It's been kind of a personal dream, if you will, to travel the Congo River. And now, for better or worse, I get that chance. We've rented a trusty vessel, and I shall dub thee the Captain Willard. All right, did you maggots load the chickens?
Finding food along the way, it's anticipated, will be a challenge. Refrigeration of any kind is impossible.
Okay, well, I'm psyched. My dream has finally come true. Blocked by officials? Well, this could be months. Okay, let the probing begin.
We need this boat to move now. How do we do this?
Let's get underway before they figure a new tax to levy on us.
Our trip downriver will take us some 120 kilometers, even deeper into the jungle. But instead of Kurtz and his ivory hoard, a crumbling Belgian research center with a shadowy past awaits us at our destination.
It's the turn of the century map, so as Kisangani was then called Stanleyville. Leopoldville, that would be here.
Like 3,000 kilometers or something like that.
A long way to go if we were taking the full ride.
That's what we're doing, right?
All the way to the Atlantic?
You didn't tell them yet?
I don't think we have enough spam, gentlemen.
A half-day's journey downriver, there's a local dignitary we've promised to visit.
Yeah, there's the chief who's coming down.
We arrive, late, but the king is still waiting for us. Traditional headgear, not so traditional suit. The medals given by the Belgians, proving his royal lineage.
This place belongs to the Bambole ethnic group.
And he's the king?
Donc, yo vremoza mokonzi ya ekolo na yo nyonso. My father ruled from 1928, and I came after him in 1963.
It's a lot of history. Incredible.
We give him a goat as a way of saying, I'm sorry for being so late, and sorry we can't stay longer. and he gives me a simple yet hefty-looking bracelet, which only later do I come to appreciate for what it is.
Horan told me this goes back to Arab, Portuguese times. It was the Arabs who taught them how to do this. So they wear them on their wrists or their ankles. This is older than our story, probably. The chief said his father gave it to him in 1935. So who knows, man? Wow. So where'd you get the bracelet? Oh, an African king gave it to me. Congo River. Where'd you get yours?
We've come a long way downriver, but with many kilometers still to go, attention is turned towards the evening meal. I figure I'll make coq au vin, which is a pretty simple way of dealing with a bunch of tough, old, stringy birds in one pot.
Getting close to killie time. Moment of truth.
It's quickly getting dark, and I'm very aware of a number of things.
How do they usually kill chickens?
Small knife.
A small knife, cut the head off.
Our chickens are thin, scraggly, and tough.
Ah, he's biting me.
In order to make anything, any kind of edible, I'm probably gonna have to stew the crap out of them. But first we gotta kill these things and collect their blood, which if you know anything about chickens, and most of my crew don't, takes time.
I'll hold the bucket, you kill the chicken.
You wanna eat? You gotta kill your own chicken and pluck it too.
Time to get killing.
But every man has a breaking point. And in retrospect, perhaps this was ours.
Saw harder.
Harder, you're almost through.
No, I'm not. Killing him, Tom. Stop. Clean kill. Clean kill.
Now you can join our treehouse.
By the time our birds are cleaned and plucked, the sun is down and dinner is still a long way off.
Eat up the chickens. It's time to kill chickens.
Somewhere down the Congo River, and I'm continuing to deal with a few pressing concerns. The one knife on board is as sharp, really, as a soup spoon. And soon I'm frantically trying to rip out the backbone and guts in one go with my bare hands because the knife ain't shit, and it's getting darker and darker, and the damn generator keeps kicking out.
And I really need a light so I can see what I'm cutting. I can't cut what I can't see.
There's only 3 light bulbs on right now.
There's only 240 watts. There's no way it's the draw.
They're not going to eat at all. I'm never going to get through with this.
Machete?
No, maybe we should figure out how to cook dinner, unless you don't want to eat any dinner. Because we are really not going to eat any dinner tonight. Okay, I've had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I would like to eat, especially as we've gone through all of this misery with these chickens. All right, there's a machete.
It would be apropos to point out that we do not want to be moving at night. We would not like to run aground in the middle of the freaking Congo.
He's gonna swim in now.
He's worried about crocs?
I can't see anything.
The currents unpredictable. Visibility nil. Time to tie up for the night. Generator issues more or less fixed, but now another just as serious problem presents itself. With the lights burning, it becomes insanely buggy. Crush the wrong one of these moths while swatting your face, and you will blow up like a balloon. Seriously.
Okay, take the other 2 bottles of wine. You pour all 3 bottles of wine into the onions. All right, let's put the top on, bring it up to a boil.
3 hours later, and it looks like the jungle-style stew might actually work out after all.
Okay, someone wants to bring this over carefully to the table. All right, let's eat. À table. Bon appétit. Bon appétit.
In the end, my coq au vin was a bit scraggly, but passable. It is written that I should be loyal to the nightmare of my choice. I think I now understand what that means. Next morning on the river, and of course, we're not alone. Fishermen from all the surrounding villages have heard of us and have, long before we're even awake, come by to check us out.
Hey, you ever find a couple of onions for me? Don't go crazy. If we don't have, we don't have.
I will not go crazy.
All right, I will get on the spam and egg patrol. I may have invented the stealth bomber. Really, this will be our crowning accomplishment as a culture.
Get in there, boys.
Once we finally get there, we still have to get all the way back.
Coming back was never part of the plan, man. We're not coming back.
Yeah, they'll find us 10 years later, naked in the bush with like a necklace of spam cans. That was glorious.
Time to get back out on the river. We have places to go. 2 days down the Congo, we're finally nearing our destination.
It's an abandoned Belgian research station. And it's still functioning in some capacity, but the Ngambi itself goes about 30 kilometers in. There's over 250 buildings. They're doing it all here.
Much myth and legend surrounds this place.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
It has been inferred by some that the Belgians conducted uranium enrichment and a host of bizarre experiments here. However, the facts would suggest the scariest thing to ever happen here, some genetically modified banana varietals.
You made it, man. Young Gumby.
Deep in the jungle and miles from anywhere, this was once the Institute for Agricultural Studies of Congo. Construction began in the 1930s. The complex was once staffed by hundreds of Belgian researchers, doctors, and engineers until they left hurriedly in 1960. With independence began a rapid decline. The eventual cessation of funding. Of the hundreds of structures built here, what used to be housing, laboratories, hospitals, and research facilities, the vast complex's library is clearly the most important to those who remain. Though crumbling like everything else, the grass is cut and grounds maintained. It's swept and kept clean. And yet, most incredibly, this man, Anthony Bourdain, still fights a daily battle to stave off further decay to the thousands of volumes of books and research materials contained on these shelves.
So what happened here? Did the place stay open? Did people continue to do research?
There's
some new staff, they don't get anything. But for those who have been there for long, they get an allowance from the government.
Independence comes. What happens here?
Les Blancs sont partis. La plupart ont trouvé qu'il ne fallait pas rentrer directement à chose. Comme l'INEAC continuait à œuvrer au Rwanda et Burundi, la plupart ont traversé de l'autre côté.
So, unless I'm mistaken, the gentleman just said that cutting-edge research moved to Burundi and elsewhere. The Congolais who remained, their mission all these years later has been to preserve the patrimony that existed.
All this was state-of-the-art back in the 50s when the library was built. But for 20 years, there hasn't been electricity to run the dehumidifiers to keep out the damp.
Through so many wars, through all of these difficulties, he has maintained this facility to an extraordinary degree. Why?
Pour m'avoir maintenu.
Pourquoi? Parce que
C'est ainsi qu'aujourd'hui on m'appelle doyen. On m'appelle doyen à cause de ça, parce que si je ne suis pas là, rien ne marchera plus, parce que je suis déjà connaisseur de tout cela.
Staff still show up to work and organize, catalog, and write requests for funding. Perhaps to Kinshasa or a central office where someone may or may not ever respond.
He was here pre-independence, yes?
Yeah.
Does he remember the Belgian rule?
Non, non, là c'était bien, justement. Est-ce que nous on savait qu'il y aurait un changement de vie? Parce que c'était bien, justement. Hein?
No, yeah, he remembers that period of colonialism. Right. That was the best time that they were living.
What do you say to someone who suggests that Belgian colonialism might have been the good times? The road home, such as it is. Rotting bridges, makeshift ferries. It's an adventure. Fortunately, ours was a good adventure. The Congo is a place that's always fascinated me. This is a trip I've been wanting to take since I've been writing stories or making television. But what I found was something unexpected. I met a lot of people who, for a long time, have been waiting, hoping for things to get better. A lot more hope here than there's any right to expect. When all is said and done, I wanted to go to the Congo, and I did. Peru is a country that's historically driven men mad. Mad for gold, for coca, for its magical ancient history. But now there's something else drawing outsiders to its hidden mountain valleys. We love the stuff. We obsess about it, gorge on it, and fetishize it. I'm talking about chocolate. Once a common treat, it's now becoming as nuanced as fine wine, making the pursuit of the raw good stuff all the more difficult. I'm joining that hunt in remotest Peru, but not before I've re-immersed myself in the booming Lima food scene.
I took a walk through this beautiful world, felt the cool rain on my shoulder, found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
I'm in Peru with this guy, Eric Ripert.
The guy, he was looking at us, he went into the tree.
That's funny. Chef of the world-famous restaurant Le Bernardin in New York, to look at where chocolate comes from, particularly our chocolate, a very expensive, limited-run designer chocolate bar business that Eric got me into last year. So that's why we're in Peru. But before we get all Indiana Jones, we're spending some time in Lima, as we like the capital city just fine. And we have, both of us from previous trips, friends here. Lima is the cultural hub and culinary capital of a country that has exploded in the last decade with scores of world-class chefs, cooks, and restaurants. It has long been considered to be one of the best food scenes in all of South America.
That's good.
How far away is the house?
That's it. So, yeah, 5 minutes.
One of our friends here is chef restaurateur Cacao. He's one of the best, most successful chefs in the country. His family are something of a beloved culinary dynasty in Peru. And Pucusana, a small fishing village about an hour south of Lima, is where they spend their weekends. Coque's mom, Marissa Giolfo, is like Peru's Julia Child.
Welcome.
James Beard rolled into one.
Thank you for having us.
A caterer, cookbook author, beloved icon of Peruvian gastronomy.
This is the yuca?
Oh yeah, I'm going in.
To say one is fortunate to enjoy her hospitality would be an understatement.
Pisco sour.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
Warm, generous, welcoming beyond belief.
Too bad that you have to leave so soon.
Yeah.
Normally we have lunch late, like at 5.
Do you nap before lunch or after?
Both. No.
Sounds like paradise. Wow, look at this.
Every weekend, Marissa opens the house to an ever-changing mob of friends, visitors, drop-ins, and family.
This is fantastic.
They do not skimp on the food. Delicious, delicious things pour out of the kitchen.
Wow.
A torrent, a deluge of traditional Peruvian favorites.
This is a cow salad with crab meat, the yellow potato, and avocado. We love avocado.
Caldo de cangrejo is like a terrine of crab meat, eggs, avocado, and mashed yellow potatoes.
Okay.
This is a tiradito, ceviche from the coast.
Beautiful.
Tiradito de pejerrey. Basically raw kingfish fillets dressed with ají amarillo and lime juice.
Perfect.
And that's scallop ceviche.
Ceviche for sure.
Ceviche de conchas. Fresh scallops and lemon juice, garlic, and ají limo.
Seco de pescado.
Drumfish braised in chichi de jora, a corn-based beer.
They look fantastic.
This is el rocoto.
Spicy or not?
This is very spicy.
Very spicy.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, and stuffed ricotta peppers filled with ground beef and raisins served with parrilla cheese.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are we lucky or what?
You're lucky.
And that's just the beginning. There's so much more food, there's no way we can show it all, much less describe it. It's incredible, overwhelming, invariably fresh and delicious, and thrillingly different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I could frankly get out of the chocolate business right now, put up a pup tent on Marissa's porch, and pretty much dig in for the duration. This is living.
Yeah.
Those little fish are amazing. They're so fresh.
I want to be her next door neighbor.
It's incredible. It's so good.
So has Peruvian cuisine always been this diverse and this delicious, and we're just discovering it, or has it changed over the last 15 years?
It's changing anyway, but what you're eating now, it's the traditional food.
There's so many products in Peru that are unfamiliar to people in the States. When you eat this food, it's not like, well, this is something like. No, it's not kind of like anything. It's really all its own.
There is a lot of ingredients, good ingredients, all year round.
The rocoto is very good.
What do you do when you're homesick for Peruvian food and you're traveling? There's really...
We take always some chilies with us in the, the luggage. We're the perfect smugglers.
I believe you do it, man.
I hate to say goodbye to this, but it is what it is. Things to do, places to go. Wild and apparently extremely rare cacao trees to visit.
Incredible meal. So happy.
All I can say is if people are anywhere near this nice on the rest of this trip, it's gonna be okay. Lima, city of kings, home to a third of Peru's people. Locals escape by hanging out at the beach. And why not when you can maybe get a tattoo while you're at it? Is that sanitary?
You've been here before.
Oh yeah, man.
I take Eric's suggestion we head over to see Chef Javier Wong, the uniquely nonconformist seafood specialist, famous for his incredible and uncompromising ceviches and his flaming wok. If Peru has a national dish, it's probably ceviche. The freshest fish only needs the right cut, a little citrus, and no heat.
What's the most common thing that people do wrong?
The quality of the ingredients. You don't do a ceviche with something that is not ultra fresh.
Right.
The cut is very important, the thickness.
Right.
And when you do the ceviche, you don't do it too much ahead of time.
The whole place is served whatever menu he's doing that day. Same for everybody. And today, the flounder he got from the market is particularly nice. So that's what we're getting. Generally thicker pieces to stand up to the spices and acids. First up, an octopus and flounder ceviche.
I don't know what to tell you, man. It's damn good.
Oh, that was good.
Is this one very spicy or not?
You ever been spanked in your life and enjoyed it? Yeah, me neither. I don't like pain. Except
if you spanked with the pepper.
Brutalized with the pepper, I like.
That's really hot.
Tiradito, a flounder dressed with pecans, lime, ají limo, and sesame oil, which clearly Eric likes.
Oh, this is totally going to Le Bernardin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're not like foraging into Catskills for your inspiration? You basically just rip your ideas off of small businessmen?
Javier, estupendo.
¿Es okay? ¿Está bien?
Sí, super.
Oh, superb.
¿Algo más?
You want another little thing?
Sure. Antonio tiene un diente increíble.
Chinese and Japanese immigrants came to Peru in great numbers in the 19th and 20th centuries as contract laborers and farmers, and their influence is felt here, particularly in the food, to a greater degree than anywhere else on the continent. It's that influence and the ingredients of Amazonia and the Andes that really distinguishes the food here as something special.
Well, what is this, tofu?
No, queso fresco, no?
This is a very kooky combination. I mean, is that pineapple? Where'd that come from? That's not traditional.
I mean, he looks Asian to me.
Right.
So I believe he's probably...
Dude, his name is Wang. I mean, unless he's a retired porn star. This shouldn't be good, but it is. Whew. We're gonna have a sweat on that one. Yeah, I might have a couple more beers after this, pisca sour, and then have a nice nap, midday nap.
One more day in Lima, a chance to delve a bit further into the cuisine before things get a little more old school.
It's a special cocktail that we prepare here. It has a kind of lime that we find on the jungle. It has culantro.
Culantro?
Culantro is like cilantro, but it's long leaves and it's much more powerful in flavor.
It would be wrong to not point out that Peru, along with Brazil, is at the forefront of a movement celebrating the incredible and unique larder of ingredients from the Andes and the Amazon. Flavors you find no place else on Earth.
There seems to be a lot of interest in the last decade in the Amazon because it's an amazing spectrum of entirely new to most of us flavors and ingredients.
Pedro Escafino is at the cutting edge of exactly that territory. His restaurant, Amas, explores the rivers, the ocean, the landscape of Peru, highlighting a range of products that are stunning in their diversity, and to us anyway, their newness.
Wow.
This one is, you got breadfruit, tuna, and the cashew sauce that is with plantain vinegar. That's a cashew fruit, and so the nut is a fruit, and in Brazil and here we use the peduncle as a fruit. We make these scallops with a wild almond.
The almond is very, very soft, like the flavor of it. It complements really well.
And this one is freshwater shrimp dashi, made of taro root and a freshwater shrimp.
Whole different flavor spectrum, right? All new. It's almost like you need a new section of your tongue.
It must be so exciting because they have basically an amazing garden with the Amazon.
Ooh, that looks good.
This is a soup made of hen with peanuts and corn, and it's called inchicapi.
Liking the food. I've enjoyed these cocktails too. Cashew caipirinhas.
Are we going to be wasted?
Yeah, we'll be fine. Oh, well.
So this is also tradition. This is called patarashka. They season the fish, they put it on a leaf, and they cook it. The fish is catfish. In the Amazon, we have like 200 types of catfish.
It's in flavor from the leaf too.
And here we have paiche. It's the second biggest freshwater fish in the world. Underneath, you have a puree of aguaje, that is a palm fruit. And the sauce is a reduction of fermented wild manioc or yuca.
Fermented?
Yeah, this is, how to say, toxic or...
poisonous.
Poisonous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they let it ferment and it becomes, you can eat it.
These fish are unbelievable when you see them. They get up to like 600 pounds. And they're swimming in water no deeper than a rice paddy.
Really?
Giant. They're like dinosaur fish. Everyone has been saying for years that Peru is going to be the next big thing as far as restaurants.
And it is. This really prove it.
And we have a chili pepper made with Brazil nuts, and these are ants.
Wow, they're huge.
They're huge ants.
Okay. You think I should try?
Yeah, totally. You're not loving that, are you?
No.
Imagine you took a lot of acid and then you ate that whole bowl of ants, and then you go home and you experience violent diarrhea. And like you're tripping, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and you turn around and you look at the toilet and like all these ant heads floating around in there. It'd be cool.
Yeah, it will be super cool, Tony. I can't wait.
So now that we've confirmed what we already knew, that Peru's food is unequivocally awesome, it seems proper that we take a trip back in time to meet the forebears of this country's rich cultural legacy. The Larco Herrera Museum in Lima has a massive collection of pre-Columbian artifacts. And looking at them, you get an idea of what these ancient peoples were like, how they lived.
Wow. I mean, this is like the real stuff.
I think so. Wow. Right? I mean, it's the real deal, yeah.
Gold necklaces. You see why the Spanish just freaked out when they came here, turned into like maniacal greed heads.
But history does not have to be boring. It can be sexy.
I don't know whether you knew this, but I am an aficionado of early erotica of pre-Columbian and post-Columbian eras. You know, like pottery, of people doing it.
Yeah, I should have known that.
Turns out things could get pretty interesting back in the day. Oh yeah, those guys could get crazy, get wild, and apparently very kinky.
The erotic gallery. Oh, there you go. That's a conversation starter.
I take Eric to the pre-Columbian boning section. Actually, the erotic pottery section.
Slip it in the tongue.
Amazing.
Which sounds about as much fun as an all-nude Renaissance fair, but is actually pretty cool. Nothing new under the sun that these pre-Columbian horn dogs didn't think of first.
Ooh, that's started. Man and chicken.
I'm not sure I understand this one, Tony.
I think we frown on that these days. Oh, wow, they're doing it under a blanket. This must be after the Spanish arrived to teach them shame. Ooh, skeletons with boners.
They are zombies.
Oh, getting zombie old-fashioned?
Yes, Tony. I really appreciate your knowledge.
I wonder whether this was decorative or whether this was early porn.
They probably had it in a closet somewhere or something.
Yeah, I'll bet this was right out on the table. Come on in, have a cup of tea. Sit down. Ooh, here's some animal-on-animal action. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm happy we made it here, Tony. That was an enlightening moment.
Something about steamy XXX pre-Columbian erotica always makes me hungry. Luckily, at night, Lima comes alive with the smell and the familiar, enticing sound of sizzling meat. It's time for delicious, screamingly hot, garlicky, spicy, flavor-jacked street meats. And as anybody who knows me is well aware, I love me some street meat.
The street food in Peru is starting to disappear.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Because, you know, the neighbors,
Oh, the neighbors complain?
Complain.
Our friend Coque brought us to this place.
Sí, chocholí, tripita con su anticucho.
To Doña Pochita, a street stall named for the lady who runs the joint. They specialize in one thing.
Beef heart, anticuchos.
Anticuchos is Quechuan for skewered meat. This stuff, they say, goes back all the way to the Incas and was as immediately popular with the Spanish conquistadors as it is today.
Ooh, that looks good.
Which is to say, I must have some.
Damn.
Traditionally a mix of beef hearts and other animal parts.
Chicken hearts, they're like gizzards, and there's tripe.
Right.
Marinated in garlic, cumin, and onion, maybe a little vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
Grill that up and pile it high.
These are not small portions. These people are getting these mountains of food. Okay, rolling up.
The sauce, the sauce. Let's go to the sauce. Yeah.
It does not get any better.
Voila. Let's do it. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Beef heart?
Yes.
Yeah. That is some magical right there.
Salud. Salud. Salud.
It's very garlicky. The marinade is nice.
This is what the tripe?
Corazón de pollo.
Corazón de pollo. Chicken heart.
That is seriously tasty.
Delicioso, ¿eh? Buenísimo.
The beef heart and the chicken heart, the texture is so nice.
And it's hot. The sauce is really hot.
Como wasabi a little bit.
Woo! All right, I'm maxed out. Really delicious. Delicioso. Excellent.
The city of Chiclayo lies about 400 miles northwest of Lima. It's Peru's fourth largest city, with over 500,000 people living there. It's our next stop, the staging area for our trip to the mountains to find our cacao. Chocolate. I mean, we know we like this stuff, but how is it made? Where does it come from? Columbus was the first European to encounter cacao beans on a Mayan trading canoe off the coast of Honduras. He's said to have grabbed both crew and cargo and brought them back to Spain. A few decades later, a Spanish conquistador, Hernando Cortés, came across Aztecs using the sacred beans in a drink. It was considered the drink of the gods. Like most expensive, delicious things from abroad, the largely inbred and frequently syphilitic European royalty did their best to keep what was fast becoming a craze for hot chocolate to themselves. But it soon found its way to America, and in 1765, the first chocolate factory opened in New England. Chiclayo's main market is a massive one-stop shop for all things chocolate, as well as just about everything else under the sun.
Ooh, what, man? You got your animal skulls.
Whoa.
That's tempting. Haircut?
No, I'm good.
Ooh, wow.
Ah, el cacao.
Those are the raw beans.
And that one is the toasted
Toasted.
one. And then she
Grinds it.
And then she put it in a mold. Gracias.
Ooh, bitter.
Not sweet at all, huh?
No.
They don't put sugar. Actually, here we are in the area of the market, I believe, where they have what they call santarias.
Ah. Repair is, how shall I put it? Well, let's just say he's got more of a spiritual side than me.
So it's all the ingredients that you need for the shaman to bless the harvest of the cacao.
Okay.
So he's got us shopping for what I guess you'd call shamanic supplies.
Which place are we going to? I like the lady with the sunglasses.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah.
Here.
Medical medicinal herbs with supposed magical properties, and stuff for this shaman dude to bless us and our cacao crop.
Necesito hojas de coca y carnación rojas y blancas. This one is amazing. It smells really good, and it supposedly purifies the house. Yeah.
Smells like hippie.
No, but it's interesting. The shamans are very, very well respected in the Inca culture and in the region. They cure everything. They do ceremonies.
Good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Our journey continues by road as we leave Chiclayo and head east towards the Andes.
So supposedly, if you go 2 hours north from here, you have like the Indians who welcome you with the little...
Oh, the blow darts.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the mountains, we're stopping off to meet our shaman.
Hola, señor. Mucho
¿Qué tal?
gusto. Eric.
Francisco, ¿qué tal?
Anthony. He's going to teach us how to do the bath for the plants and for us.
Okay.
Sí.
With that. Señor, eso es una piedra de una...
De ser.
Meteorita, ¿no?
Exactamente, sí.
It's a meteor stone.
Vamos limpiando, vamos sacando todo.
He's cleaning.
Cada obstáculo, pues vamos sacando.
All the negative
Retirando toda cosa
vibrations.
Vamos cortando todo obstáculo.
Close your eyes. He cleaned you and he wish you a lot of success.
Póngase acá adelante. Sí, todo. Eso.
A little bit more, especially in the back, in the neck, the back. That's it here, yeah. On the chest, a little bit like that, yeah.
Eso.
We wanted a blessing for our cacao harvest. We got this. My aura is now cleaner than Gwyneth Paltrow's colon after a 3-month juice cleanse.
To a successful harvest.
Yeah. Mucho gusto y gracias.
Cuando gusten.
But we're not done. We got to transport this stuff to our trees and finish the job ourselves.
I know you're not going to believe it, but the energy has changed here. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
Listen, I'm not disbelieving. I have an open mind.
Eric and I are heading to the Marañón Canyon, 8 hours by car from Chiclayo, well into the Andean highlands. On the way, we stop for lunch and a meet up with this guy.
You want sopa de gallina?
Gallina, sí.
Tres sopas de gallina, por favor.
Chris Curtin, master chocolatier and our business partner in this knuckle-headed adventure.
One of life's great joys, eating in a Peruvian market.
I love markets for breakfast. It's nice.
So, sopa de gallina, basically a hen soup.
Gracias, sí.
That's good. Where in the world does chocolate come from?
Well, 45% of course come from Ivory Coast in Africa. But we don't deal in those beans just because of political situations.
There's this stuff, the special chocolate.
Yeah.
And which is pretty much what we're here to look at.
Yes, absolutely.
Where it comes from, what's involved.
Eric ate some of Chris's chocolate, heard about these wild cacao trees he was sourcing from in Peru, and promptly got me involved in this designer chocolate bar business.
I'm rather famously a guy I never really gave it about desserts. You, on the other hand, you eat chocolate every day.
Yeah, every day.
And so here we are, 3 men and a chocolate bar. Good thing for the world or exploitative opportunism? Yet to be determined. What do I, after all, know about chocolate? Next to freaking nothing.
It's good like that, right?
Like Oliver Twist there. Yeah, we used to eat it like that in the orphanage.
The Marañón Canyon. We're headed to meet some of the farmers who supply the beans that make our chocolate and to get me an education in all things cacao. The roads up into these mountains can be tricky. So we got to take care of the local vigilante dudes who run a roadblock here outside of town. It looks like a shakedown, but they're a welcome sight. This hill, where cars have to slow down, was where all sorts of highwaymen and miscreants used to waylay travelers like us. So these guys stepped in to take care of business.
Wow, that was a big shotgun. That'll shoot through an engine block. Actually, I don't really know, but I'm assuming.
At this time of year, there's also the rain and mud, which can mean flooded streets and streams that cut right across the roads. And there's this, the river. In the best of circumstances, a fairly adventurous way to get your vehicles across. A long line across a fast-moving current, the ferry propelled only by the flow of water. But today, the river is too high and the current too fast.
River running a little high.
It's these smaller boats or nothing.
When dealing with complex transportation issues, the best thing to do is pull up with a cold beer and let somebody else figure it out.
Yeah, so let's go on the boat.
To my crew, I say good luck. We're headed for what looks like a bar on the other side.
We'd like to go to Punta Cerveza, por favor.
And let me tell you, it's quite a ride.
I'll go the last.
Yeah.
Hey, water inside the boat. Look, look, look. The boat is sinking.
You gotta go down and then up, just right. We make it to the other side reasonably dry.
Beer?
The Marañón Canyon is home to a wide range of species, including, and most interesting to us, a strain of cacao previously thought to be almost extinct. A few years ago, the valley's cacao trees were genetically tested at a USDA lab and proven to have identical DNA to one of the rarest forms of cacao in the world. This stuff, the real deal, pure Nacional. Don Fortunato is our cacao connection, a farmer whose family has been working these mountains for over 40 years.
They're just absolutely beautiful when they start out.
Absolutely really kooky looking pods as they just come right off the trunk of the tree. They sort of look like somebody, glued them to the side of a tree, This is a once-a-year crop?
It goes continuously, but this is the peak season.
See the way it comes out? Try that. Take one in your mouth. Bite it, and you see the nibs inside? Those are the cocoa nibs.
So, where does chocolate come from? The bean.
Okay, here's where chocolate comes from. The trees produce pods. You split open the pods and take out the beans. The buyer sun-dries the beans, then roasts them. After roasting, the beans are extracted from their shells and ground up, producing chocolate liquor. Mix this concentrate with milk, sugar, cocoa butter, and you get what we call commercial chocolate. Now, our chocolate bar sells for a nosebleed price that's high by even premium chocolate standards. So where does the money go? And most importantly to me and Eric, are we doing a good thing? Here's how it breaks down. The raw cacao costs 1 chunk. Labor, the inner sleeve, this much. Design, box, packaging, this much. Various sundry equipment and miscellaneous, another small chunk. Chris, me, and Eric each get a slice out of every bar. That leaves this much, which the retailer takes. Chef Bleeding Heart Hippie here has already convinced me to give whatever meager profits we make off our first bar to a local charity.
So, what's unusual about these pods, these beans?
It's extremely high quality flavor.
Thought not around for a while. So
this was what almost all chocolate was made of over 120 years ago. Right. And now it's making a giant comeback. I mean, as a chocolatier, this is a once-in-a-lifetime find.
Now, about 40% of the beans from these trees have got white cacao beans mixed in. The rest are purplish in color. But we've heard of an ultra-rare group of trees elsewhere further up the mountains that produce pods with 100% all pure white beans. And that's something me and Eric are very interested in down the road. But for now, Don Fortunato's daughter, Johanna, has prepared us a traditional Peruvian mountain meal.
Wow.
Oh, whoa. Juanes.
Juanes are rice dumplings with boiled egg, chicken, and achote inside.
Wow.
This is amazing.
Buenísima.
And not surprisingly, some cuy, or guinea pig, of which there seems to be many around for the taking. This preparation served with a cacao sauce.
Oh, that's good.
All of this food is delicious.
So, chocolate, particularly our chocolate, it's a luxury food item.
Yes.
Right? This is an area that's abundant with coffee, chocolate, fruit. How's life for the locals?
He says that 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was easier for him. He was planting soybeans and coffee, and he was making much more money. And then he didn't plant soybeans any longer. And then the coffee production went down. So therefore, he had a financial struggle for a while. And now with the cacao trees that they are planting, he has no more stress and he's fairly happy himself.
I'm in the Marañón Canyon of Peru with my friend and partner in chocolate bars, Chef Eric Ripert. Eric and I are intrigued by these ultra-rare, all-white beans we heard about from Don Fortunato. So we set up a meeting with another farmer, Don Edilberto, elsewhere in the valley. Now, we thought it would be a nice gesture, given all the high-test culinary talent between us, to make him and his family dinner in return for his hospitality.
What are you thinking?
Look what they have. Squabs.
Squabs. Butterfly marinade grill.
We could do that.
But we have this nice sausage.
They have sausage.
Which would be nice to throw in with stew. Or a chorizo, chicken, onion, maybe some peppers, a little bit of spice.
Okay, I'm taking chorizo and potatoes.
So we're kind of moving into the Spanish, what's it called, zarzuela, but
zarzuela. And we can even use shrimp from the guy. Shrimp and chicken works.
That sounds like a plan.
¿Me puede dar camarones, por favor? 24. You have 24?
Yeah. Successful.
Yeah, so far, but wait until we arrive there. It's going to be interesting.
Don't be a downer, man. I'm optimistic.
We arrive at the village where the fabled white cacao beans are said to be growing and meet with the village's unofficial mayor and our cacao farmer, Don Edilberto, who will lead us to the trees.
Okay, we're going to follow him.
What was depicted as a short walk up a slight incline turns out to be an epic hump up one hill after another.
When you're tired, you tell us, we stop, okay?
When I slump to the ground and urinate all over myself, that'll be a tip that I probably want to stop. Another reason I hate the Swiss mountains.
I love mountains.
Eric, who grew up in the Pyrenees, is up the slopes like a gazelle. Me, I feel every year of my misspent life with every step.
Oh, jeez.
Ese es cacao.
El blanco que pusiste.
Oh, are we there yet?
No, we're not there. It's a baby. He's rafting because he has only 22 trees.
I wish I could hear you over the sound of my exploding capillaries.
Okay. By the time we get near the fabled trees, I'm toast, gasping for air, ready to puke from the altitude and the exertion.
So tell us again, what's unique about these trees?
It's because they're all white beans, which is a rarity.
So these are the only known all-white, 100% pure nacional. Okay, and why is that good?
It's a new variety and gives different flavor profiles to it.
A good flavor profile?
Yes.
I'm assuming, because I've just humped up a big mother. Excuse me, kid.
Oh, nice catch.
Sherry.
Don't hit your fingers, man.
Okay, that's got it.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. And I'm going to repeat myself.
Porcelana.
All white.
Remember the shaman? Well, we still have stuff to do with that package he gave us. We do, presumably, want a good crop. Better get right with the spirit world. Oh, jeez.
To me?
A little shaman juice thrown around, bury the purified soil, and there you go. Chocolate magnates.
Well, good luck, dude. To a good harvest.
Done deal.
The trip downhill, unsurprisingly, is a lot easier on me. Time for me and Chef Ripert to get cooking. Back to basics. Wood fire, ingredients from the morning market, and this old-school recycling system. Here, little fella.
I'm ready for the chicken.
Okay, here we go.
And the red wine.
Notice how I neatly maneuvered you into the shit job?
So now we have to make the mashed potato and we're good.
Eric's mashed potato secret, around 50% butter. Ah, the glory that is France. I think they call it gout.
Okay, let's do it.
Pues empezamos.
Paren así la comida. Muy delicioso.
Gracias.
You guys can cook.
Some say.
Sometimes. Usted es el único que tiene el cacao blanco.
Soy el único en la cantidad que sembraron los 15,000 plantones.
He's the only guy who has the white cacao. He asked all the farmers of the village here to do exactly what he has done. So the other farmers are starting to copy him.
Right.
And he's happy because it's going to bring wealth in the village and the valley and the community.
Afterwards, Don Adalberto makes a traditional unsweetened hot chocolate preparation. Ground cacao nibs and hot water. No milk, no sweeteners, no nothing. Just like the ancient kings liked it.
Oh, here we go. Gracias. Wow, the real deal.
Only water, and this is what they really use cacao for.
Before chocolate hit Europe, this is what the Aztec kings would drink.
I'm a little bit jealous right now, since I have nothing.
We'll get yours eventually. Here you go.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. Salud.
That's good. Salud.
Salud. Salud.
Gentlemen, to education.
Yes.
So, did we do the right thing? Is it all right for two New Yorkers to make money, however much or however little, off the work of struggling farmers in a faraway land? Fortunato, Adalberto, Chris, everybody down the line, all the way to the families who picked the pods off the trees, seem pretty happy to be doing what they're doing. But do I want to be in the chocolate business? That's something I'm going to have to figure out. But for now, one last thing needs to be done to fulfill our shamanic obligations.
Guys, you have to get out. The guy is coming with his bike and he doesn't care.
A bridge, a bundle of eucalyptus leaves, a badly working lighter, gotta get right.
It smells like ganja. You have a lighter?
We need to burn this stuff and pass it around our bodies 3 times.
Got something or not?
Oh, it's so too moist. Oh, you got it, man. Okay.
Smoking? It's not smoking. I'm gonna get it. Hold on. I'm gonna get it. This is. That's it. Now I got it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Ah, yeah, it's coming. I got it. We did it.
Over.
Okay, done. Hey, we have a problem with chocolate, I tell you that.
Getting into the coffee business.